the first story of the day, we're going to be talking about game services. So there's actually two stories this week. One related to Xbox Game Pass and one related to Nintendo Switch Online. So this is coming from Axios and Stephen Totillo. Xbox Game Pass subscriptions miss Microsoft's target. So subscriber growth for Microsoft's signature game service, Xbox Game Pass, was slower than the company hoped for in the past year, according to new financial filings. Why it matters, Xbox Game Pass is often touted as the best deal in gaming, and its subscriber count is a shorthand measure of Microsoft's gaming success. By the numbers, for the 12 months that ended June 30th, Xbox Game Pass subscriber growth was up 37%, but the company had set a 48% growth goal. In the company's prior fiscal year, which ran from mid-2019 through to mid-2020, Game Pass subs were up 86%, exceeding a target of 71%. So for those who just wanted the actual subscriber count, that's the catch. Microsoft hasn't been sharing them lately. The most recent confirmed figure is 18 million as of January. The service costs $10 a month for console and PC players, or $15 a month for a combo. So long and short of it, one of the interesting things that they talk about here is that the growth of Xbox is one of the few performance goals for top executives, including CEO Satya Nadella. And it's the only pure gaming metric listed in the exec's payment plan and sits alongside the other priority targets, including number of LinkedIn sessions and usage of Microsoft Teams. So Xbox Game Pass still having exceptional growth, but is not meeting Xbox targets. Adam, just overall on a surface, do gamers want these games as like these game services and game subscription memberships?
I mean, it's an interesting tale of two expansions, isn't it? Or two subscriptions. You got one that people seem to really enjoy and seems to be well worth its money, and the company's mad because they didn't do enough. And then you have another one which people were really liking the price of. You know, maybe could have done a little bit better, in all in terms of Nintendo seems to be happy with where it's been. And then they decide to completely screw up the value of it and mess up with everybody, and now they're in the doghouse currently for it. You know, I think anyone is really interested in a subscription service because, I mean, look at what Game Pass for PC has done. Like, for those who don't even own an Xbox, you have an amazing selection of games that you normally would have to pay, you know, for an extra console, assuming you have a PC that can play these games, or even if you have a decent enough internet that xCloud can cover most of it, you know, you can play a lot of games that would normally you'd have to pay $60, $70, $80 for, on top of, you know, at least $300, $400, $500, $600 for the console. So most people are happy, myself included, plopping $10, $15 down to be able to do that. Like right now, I'm playing Back 4 Blood on my PC instead of, you know, having to pay the full price for it, which I'm glad because I'm not playing it nearly as much as they would make it worth $80. So it's nice to be able to get to play that day one and not feel totally behind. And then you flip into Nintendo where I'm just staring at it and echoing the same things that I said last time, where I said, who would want this, and for that price, why?
Yeah, I'm kind of looking at it and I kind of wonder, like, Xbox Game Pass is certainly a good value, but like I wonder from the perspective of like, is it sort of something that is sort of losing interest? It's losing its what people are interested in. So for example, like I think about it, like I hear people all the time talk about, is PlayStation Plus worth it? Is Game Pass worth it? And I think one of the issues is that I don't know anymore. Like certainly from a dollar value, yeah, it's a great deal. And Xbox is in an interesting spot where I think it's going to be a good deal. I think it is now, and I think it will be in the future. But I think, like for the most part, I think there's a small market that's going to do it, and then the rest aren't. And do you like? I think that Microsoft might be overambitious if they're hoping that there's going to be a 1-for-1 or a huge uptick in how many people are going to be getting Game Pass. I think it's going to be, you're going to have a surge of numbers, and then eventually it's going to dwell because not everyone is looking to play every single game. You have Xbox players who are just playing, you know, one game, two games, and that's all that they want, and they don't need that monthly membership, especially when it's not every single game that's coming to Game Pass. It's only a select. Same with PlayStation Plus, only a select amount of games, and so you're kind of gambling as to whether or not it's a worthwhile value for you. And for me personally, I know that PlayStation Plus is becoming less and less enticing for me. Like, I don't think I've downloaded this month's games because it doesn't appeal to me. And I can't remember the last time I played a game where it's, man, this is amazing. I'm so glad I got my Game Pass, or not Game Pass, but my PlayStation Plus, because oftentimes I download them and I never touch them because, I buy the games that I want to play, and the rest that come out are like, oh, I'll try it maybe sometime. So I don't know. I kind of feel like maybe these game services aren't necessarily worth the money that you're paying for them. Game Pass certainly presents the best value, but I don't know necessarily that it is amazing. Like you're talking right now, Back for Blood, and you're like, it's a great game that I'm enjoying, but I'm glad I didn't pay for it because it's not fully flushed out and polished. Is that a fair assessment of your experience with Back for Blood?
No, I don't think the reasons that I'm happy that I'm not paying full price for Back for Blood is the game itself so much as it's the amount of time that I want to spend in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice that instead of having to pay $80 and then plopping it in and playing it once or twice a week for a couple of hours, I can now have it, and I'm paying a monthly fee to play that for a little bit. Maybe because Minecraft's going to be on there soon, apparently, according to recent reports. Forza is not going to be far behind it. I believe Destiny is now on there. Outriders is getting dropped soon. So there's like a really good selection of stuff. And if I wanted to go back and forth between several games, I can do it. It at least allows me the option to try a bunch of stuff. And then if I really like it, I don't feel bad about spending full price day one and then looking at it on my shelf saying, man, I'm not playing it enough to make it worth what I'm paying for. And I think that's why I like the service, is that I can try something. And if I'm not ready to put like a bunch of time into it, maybe something else already has my attention, I can at least go, hey, I can put this on the back burner. It's going to be here for at least a couple of months. Cool. Don't have to worry about, a really high price. And with Back for Blood, if I really end up liking it, and it sounds like down the road that they're going to add more to it and really flesh the game out a little bit better, I have it on Game Pass right now, all my save data. Xbox usually has like a bit of they knock the price off a little bit if you buy it through their system while it's still on there. And even then, if it's not good enough, well, I got a good chunk of time out of it. Maybe it's on sale on the Xbox store at some point later down the road that's like half off. Steam can do the same. Maybe I'm thinking it's worth, going after it later. But at the very least, what that service does, it's what we were kind of talking about with the game demos from last week's episode, where that's a good way of doing it, where I can try stuff for a much lower cost monthly, sure, and it's probably going to add up to this price of a few full price games that I would be buying in the future. But now it means that I can try far more games that I would ever be able to afford to do. And to me, that's the biggest plus. In all honesty, what I think is the major reason why Xbox Game Pass didn't hit their target goal, quite frankly, is the same reason that they are still looking at, trying to get through this shortage of consoles and sell more. They thought the Series S would be a great solution to the lower tier market, and the Series X is sold out every time it goes on the store. The Series S are sitting on shelves. Your Game Pass subscriptions will go up if you have more people owning consoles. And because not as many people are owning the Series S, they're losing money on potential subscribers because those consoles are sitting on the shelf. Quite frankly, if they did the PlayStation model and just had a discless Series X, I think we're looking at them hitting their goal, or certainly very, very close to doing so.
Yeah, it's funny. I feel like Xbox was the one that would have benefited most from doing a discless console. I really think that, Game Pass is going to probably be their future. And I've talked about this in previous episodes, like I worry about what Game Pass does for the health of the development industry. I mean, it works for Microsoft in their camp of building building their games and just having that trickle in effect. But for other developers, like it cannibalizes their sales, and I wonder on the back end how much they're making, and if it's worthwhile for them to give up those sales on Xbox and theoretically PS5 to have it on Game Pass. So I mean,
we would assume that somewhere down the line, if it really is a situation where developers feel like they're losing a lot of money, someone will eventually talk. Because believe me, we're Sony ponies over here. The PlayStation Reddit threads or on Twitter or wherever else on the internet would absolutely love to post and talk about a developer coming clean and saying, hey, Xbox Game Pass is not worth it for us. As soon as those stories happen, we'll know.
Yeah.
because Sony fans will parade that left and right. Not me, because I want Game Pass to be as good as it is. I want Switch Online to be as good as it is, but that certainly isn't happening right now, which we'll get into very, very shortly.
Yeah.
But like, when we find it, or if not when, if we do find out that Game Pass isn't a great deal for anybody not under the Microsoft banner, we'll know pretty soon, because eventually someone's going to croak, because everything leaks out online. It's just a matter of, is that happening? And if it is, well, we'll know soon. And if it's not, well, then it's mostly because they're all getting paid by Microsoft, so they don't care because the money's coming through regardless.
Yeah. So yeah, and I'm once again not trying to crap on Game Pass. It certainly, I think, is the best value in the industry. I just, like I said, I don't know. I'm sure I'll probably just being a Sony fanboy at this point, but for me, I just kind of curious like what it does for the industry, and I hope it does well. Like I said, I'm always a fan of.
I mean, in all honesty, at this point, I could care less what happens to the industry, because Sony or Microsoft's got the money that they can just pay it off if they have to.
True.
I mean, as a customer, that's why I'm loving it. And, with anybody else who has a really good month on PlayStation Plus, you don't really care what it does for the industry. If a game goes free, you don't care because you just got that game you really wanted for free. For me, I got Back 4 Blood for what, $15-$20 for potentially 2, 3, 6 months. Who knows? Yeah, that sounds like a deal to me. I'll take it. I'll deal with the consequences later. If Game Pass suddenly goes away, well, I guess I'm done playing Xbox games on my PC for a little while. Oh no, I guess I'll go back to the thing I've been doing my entire life before that. So,
see, I'm apparently an old man, and I love my video game collections. I love having that collection of games that I own that are mine. And is it rational? No. Does it make sense? No. Is it the future? Probably not. Like, I am a relic and an old man, but that's just.
I'm not gonna lie. I partially regret getting the disc version of the PS5 only because I really haven't bought a lot of discs since. But I got it in the odd case that, you know what, I'll pay a little bit extra, and if Amazon or somebody else just happens to have a disc copy on sale, then it just saves me the trouble having to wait for it to be on a sale and just be ready for it at that point. If I'm just really interested in the disc, I can just grab it there. But it gives me more options.
See, I love I was adamant that I was getting a disc version, and it's just because I can now go and get games wherever. So like, I got Watchdog Legion and I got Immortals Phoenix Rising cheaper than it was on PlayStation Network. I got Deathloop for free, and I say free because I got it for I used my rewards points with one of our local shops here. So it's just I have that ability that I can shop around and I can leverage deals and
that's what it was for me.
Prices.
It was just the versatility of being able to have the choice if there was a better deal elsewhere. Otherwise, if you get the digital, which one of my buddies did, actually the guy who I bought the disc version off of, because he ended up getting one of each. It ended up just being a case where like he doesn't mind because he's got a PC, he's got plenty of stuff he can do there, and he can wait. Like, it doesn't mean much to him. And the same goes for me. If I really had to, I can wait for it to go on sale on PlayStation. There are so many other things I can do, but it is nice to have the choice. So I'm not complaining either way.